All right, Mr. Johnny Rivers, how are you doing today?
All right, Zia, I'm doing fine out here in California.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's been 12 years since I had you on the show with John.
No, it's been so long. We have to do it more often.
Absolutely. What a pleasure to have you with us. Lots of listeners in and around U.S. They're listening to us. We're webcasting worldwide. So since last time you called us, now we're also on internet.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So March 20th, you'll be in Baton Rouge.
That's right, at Baton Rouge High School.
Oh, it's been many years, huh?
It sure has. Actually, I went to Baton Rouge High for a while. Then I had a band at the time called the Spades. And of course, we were playing gigs at night and stuff, and I was showing up late, and I got in trouble there. And so my parents pulled me out of there and put me over there in Catholic high school. They thought the nuns had cracked the whip on me there. So, but anyhow, it was. I went to Baton Rouge Junior High as well. That's where I started this band called the Spades.
Oh, what exciting moments those days! And you were listening to WIBR and WLCS in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
And what about WLAC, 50,000 watts clear?
WLAC was out of Nashville.
Exactly.
Yeah, John R. and what was the other DJ? John Richburg and Hoss Allen.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. See, my memory's still good.
Very good. By the way, we really enjoyed your concert a while back at Hemmingbow with Baton Rouge Symphony. That was absolutely breathtaking.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a few years ago as well. That was over at St. Francisville.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, member of the bands that you're going to be bringing to Baton Rouge, can you tell us?
Probably not anyone that anybody knows around there, but Phil Jones is playing drums with me, who plays with Tom Petty from time to time. Very
right.
good drummer. Daryl Cook, who's been with me for a long time, on bass. Skip Edwards is playing keyboards, piano, and B3 organ. And yours truly is playing guitar. That's it. It's plain and simple.
Oh, that's going to be
like
wonderful.
Those records.
And by the way, how do you keep up playing just like the way you sound on the record, just like 20, 30 years ago?
Well, I don't know. I'm just lucky, I guess. It's just one of those things. My voice has held up really well. And, I feel like I'm playing guitar better than I did.
Oh, absolutely.
Ago,
By the way,
I say I'm getting better as I improve.
I was reading your liner notes in the anthology, and the gentleman who wrote the liner notes was talking about going to the East Baton Rouge Parish. In actuality, it was West Baton Rouge Parish to Club Carousel and playing over there.
Well, it was across the river. That was kind of East Baton Rouge, wasn't it?
Well, it's a West Baton Rouge Parish.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
So tell us about those days.
Well, I used to go over there and sit in. There was a band called Cy Holly and the Dukes of Blues, and my friend Dick Holler was the piano player and singer in that band.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Dick, and he told me he was playing at this little club, so I got some friends of mine to sneak me on over there, and I got in the back door there and a couple of times and begged them to let me sit in, and they did. And I up there and sang a couple of tunes with them. I think I did a couple of Elvis Presley songs or something. And anyhow, every time they'd see me come around and go, "Oh no, it's that kid again." But those were the great, good old days, man. That's kind of how I got started. And I met our drummer from the Spades, Junior Bajeron, and we put the band together. And,
right. And then also you were in the Battle of the Bands with John Fred and the Playboys, right?
Oh, we did that, yeah. And prior to that, I actually, just with my guitar, appeared at the Paramount Theater downtown there on Saturday morning. They used to have a talent contest before they showed the Flash Gordon movies.
Oh, this is great.
So, I did that. And then, we started playing around. We played out at the City Park Recreation Center and all around that area. And then we got our big break. We got to play for the Standard Oil Picnic.
Oh, okay.
And got in the newspapers and stuff. And then I got invited by Merle Kilgore up in Shreveport to appear on the Louisiana Hayride with the band.
Oh, that's right.
That was a big
tradition
for us. Because that was broadcast on the radio all over. And,
that's right.
And then I met, at that show, I met James Burton. Merle Kilgore introduced me to James Burton.
Wonderful guitarist.
Ricky Nelson's guitar player.
That's right.
That's how I wrote a song and sent it up to James, and he took it out, played it for Ricky when he went back to California, and Ricky recorded that song, and that was really big at the time because Ricky was the man because Elvis was in the Army. So.
Oh, goodness.
That's how I first came to California.
How did you get your first recording contract?
Well, the first record I did was for a little company out of Natchez, Mississippi called Suede Records. It was a little blues label, and I recorded it down in New Orleans at Cosmo Studio, where
Oh, yeah,
Domino
that's right.
And Little Richard and all those guys recorded down there.
Right.
And all the New Orleans, acts, all the Ace Records. I think Jimmy Clanton recorded there, and Huey Smith and the Clowns, and on and on. Anybody from that New Orleans area all recorded at Cosmos.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I'm just looking at the liner notes, and here's a picture of you with Dick Clark. Tell us about your visit.
Well, I appeared on the American Bandstand when it was still out of Philadelphia.
Right.
I met Alan Freed in New York, went to New York City and met Alan Freed, got me a recording deal up there. I did a couple of singles. And the label got me an appearance on the Dick Clark show.
Oh, okay.
So, the records weren't big national hits, but they did well and got a lot of airplay, and it just kind of kept me going, little regional hits here and there until I finally did that live album at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Yeah, tell us about Elmer Valentine. And
well, Elmer just passed away not too long ago.
Is that right?
We just had a big memorial for him. As a matter of fact, at the Whiskey. It was pretty moving. They named the street out alongside the Whiskey, Elmer Valentine Way, and
I'll be darned.
Let's see, Stephen Stills showed up, and John Mayall, and Chris Elton from the Byrds. A lot of the artists that appeared at the Whiskey and started there. So many. Jimi Hendrix started there. The Doors, on and on and on.
Wow. And then your wonderful label. You also discovered the Fifth Dimensions, and tell us about that.
Well, that was a few years later. I started this label called Soul City Records, and
right.
Which is still going, by the way. I'm the only artist on the label. But yeah, I met a man named Mark Gordon who was managing a group called the Versatiles, and cut a demo, and I listened to it, and I really liked the sound, and so I met them, and they were really wonderful people, and very talented, and we wound up changing their name to the Fifth Dimension. And I had also just met Jimmy Webb and signed to my publishing company, and recorded one of his songs called By the Time I Get to Phoenix, but he also had this song that he had written for a Broadway play that never happened. It was called Up, Up, and Away. And so we wound up, it was sort of a jazz song. We wound up doing it with the Fifth Dimension. And
what a big hit.
Released, well, it was a record of the year and song of the year. We won 2 Grammys, actually 4 Grammys, I think, altogether on that song.
And then your career in California at the Whiskey A Go-Go, I remember there was a liner note in back of one of your albums. This is back in 1968 when I was overseas reading it. And I think it was written by Steve McQueen, coming to your club.
That was actually a studio album, but Steve used to come to the Whiskey and hang out all the time. We actually got to be friends, and I would ride motorcycles with him on Sundays and stuff. A group of us would all get together and go motorcycle riding. That was kind of a thrill for me to be riding a motorcycle with Steve McQueen. So, yeah, and he wrote the liner notes on the back of my third album.
Exactly.
It had Mountain of Love in it.
That's right. And then in 1963, before Whiskey A Go-Go, you were at this Italian restaurant.
Gazzari's. But that's actually where we started the whole thing. That's where I met Elmer Valentine. He came into Gazzari's when we were like the happening place in town there, and Steve started coming in there, and Natalie Wood, some big movie stars and stuff, and so we had the big following. And Elmer was an owner of another place that was also a very popular club there, and so he came over to see what all the fuss was about. Saw everybody dancing in this little club and the line out on the street. He told me about the idea of this place called the Whiskey A Go-Go, which was actually the Whiskey A Go-Go is a French name, and it was a little club in Paris, France, and Elmer had seen it on his vacation over there. And, it was all they did was play records and people danced, and it was called the discotheque. So he said, well, if you'll sign with us for a year, we'll take over this place on Sunset, call it the Whiskey A Go-Go, and I'll get these girls to play records and dance, and we'll call them Go-Go Girls. And I said, well, that's kind of wild. So Anyhow, one thing led to another, and I wound up saying, I called Elmer one day and said, "Okay, let's do that. Let's go for it." So we did, and I just kind of brought my following up from the other place.
Well, ended up being probably one of the biggest acts in rock and roll history.
Well, still that club is still going. You know, the Whiskey Go-Go's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's right.
And it's of all the venues around that were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's the only one that's still going and still open and viable. That was, 40-something years later, 46 years or something like that.
And also, you had the big gig at the Paris Olympia. What a beautiful place to perform.
Well, I've played there twice. I actually recorded a live album there called The Last Boogie in Paris.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you went to England on a couple of shows.
Well, yeah. I mean, I toured all over Europe.
Yeah.
Several times. So,
right.
Yeah.
And tell us about that TV series in London, in England, rather, Danger Man and Secret Agent Man.
Well, that's where it came from. Originally it was called Danger Man, and they were bringing it to the United States. While we were there, we met the producer of the show, who at the time they only had a instrumental theme song.
Right.
And he asked us if we could put something together, around the show, which, the James Bond movies were really popular at the time and stuff. So we did this. P.F. Sloan and Steve Barry and I put together the Secret Agent Man, and I came up with that guitar, which is really just a steal from the James Bond theme.
Right. And what a signature number.
Yeah, it's done really well. As a matter of fact, they keep using it over and over. Last year we had the big commercial for JP Morgan Chase. Then prior to that, we had a commercial with Walmart.
Right. And here's a picture of Elton John, early days, with his big glasses, and he got a T-shirt, and your picture is on the T-shirt.
Yeah, he's wearing a Johnny Rivers T-shirt.
This is incredible.
I'd wear an Elton John T-shirt.
And then, how about your encounter with Carl Perkins and Sun Records guys?
Well, I met Carl Perkins much prior. In 1959, I spent a little time in Nashville, and through Audrey Williams, Hank Williams' ex-wife.
The
former, actually his former wife, introduced me to Carl Perkins, and actually I went on a little tour they did, and Carl was on the show, and so I got to be friends with him. He was a wonderful man, and so we remained friends through the years. Actually, Carl performed on an album I did at the Original Sun Studios called the Memphis Sun Recordings.
Oh yeah.
And sat in with us and played guitar on his own songs. I was standing there singing Matchbox and a couple other songs.
As a matter of fact,
he's standing next to me playing guitar on it. It's kind of a thrill being in the original studio where he first recorded it. Well, that's where Elvis did all his early stuff as well. Johnny Cash, and Roy Orbison, on and on.
By the way, this new anthology, the second one, it's absolutely breathtaking, wonderful liner notes, incredible pictures.
Well, I produced that. I put it all together.
Very nice.
The one disc is the old, all the old hits from that Capitol Records owns now. And so we licensed that from them and remastered them all. And the second disc is just all the different cuts from various Soul City albums that I've done over the last 20 or so years.
Right.
So we picked out some of the best cuts from those different albums. So yeah, I think that's a nice package. There's a little book in it.
Sure. There's a beautiful picture of you on stage performing with Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
And this is incredible. He's looking at you, you're looking at him, and you guys...
Well, we were jamming.
Yeah.
I've done through the years, I've done a bunch of shows with Chuck, and it's great. It's amazing. He's still going as well.
Oh, yeah. I saw him about 7 years ago, and I couldn't believe that he still performs.
Oh, he's still performing now. I mean, he's like 80 years old. I mean, not as much, but it's amazing. He's still at it.
Well, this is going to be exciting to have you March 20th, Friday night at Baton Rouge High Coliseum or theater. And
yeah, it's the auditorium, actually. I think
it's beautiful.
It's kind of a fundraiser to
build
it. And that's exciting. Because actually, that's where I first saw Elvis.
Tell us about that.
That auditorium, if it's still the same one, I'm pretty sure it is.
It is.
When at the end of 1954, when he had out his first record, That's All Right, Mama and Son, a friend of mine and I went to see a country music show there at the Baton Rouge High Auditorium. And Minnie Pearl was the master of ceremonies.
Wow.
And in the middle of the show, she says, we want to bring out this new young kid, blah, 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 and playing his new record and his new sensation. And here he is, Elvis Presley. And he comes out with Scotty and Bill bopping around on the stage there, and people around us were laughing at him because they didn't know what to think. They'd never seen anything like him. And then he said, here's my new record on Sun Records, and he goes into That's All Right Mama. And I looked at my friend, I said, man, that's that song on the radio that we really love, because they had been playing it on the radio. And we didn't put it together till he started singing it. And then he did the backside, Blue Moon of Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
And he only did 2 songs, and that was it, and he walked off. And afterwards, we went back behind the auditorium there, and they were packing up the car. He was pulling a little trailer behind his Cadillac. He had like a 54 Coupe de Ville or something. And I remember standing there, we're talking about cars and like kicking the tires, him and a couple of the country music guys from the band. Anyhow, I was just standing, and I remember just looking up at Elvis, because I was just a kid, and going, this guy is really cool. And little did we know. I mean, and it's moments like that define, the direction you're going to take, So I'm sure it had a lot of influence on me pursuing my music career.
Well, all the local musicians, our guys here at the station, some of our colleagues at WBRH, they're listening today, and Johnny P. called, Johnny Palazzotto, and thanks to him to hook us up. And
I'm glad he was able to do. We need to do this more often. Let's not wait 10 years.
No, absolutely. No, as a matter of fact, it was interesting. My brother at University of Arizona, he's a professor of chemistry, and he's your diehard. And I called him last night and told him that you're going to be on the show, and he said, get out of here. I said, no, really. So I'm going to send him a copy as well.
Oh, good. That's nice. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the show.
And thank you so much for taking time to be with us.
Great to talk to you again.
All right, man. You have a great day.
All right, you too.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.